Hello friends, welcome to this video. I'm going to be sharing my November wrap up, and then I think I'm also going to tack on my December TBR. I don't think I'm going to make a separate video, but we'll see. So I'll go through this, we'll see how long it takes, and then I may talk about my TBR books as well. So this might be a bit of a longer video, so get cozy. I did read quite a bit in November. Thank you audiobooks, I will say that. I do understand now how people read so much when you're listening to audiobooks, because it just like opens up so many more opportunities to be reading while doing something else. So that's great. So here we go. Mixed bag. I don't know if I had any new 5 stars this month. I have been struggling to find books that I love. It's too bad, but let's go. I started the month rereading these 2 books, and what a joy that was. My reading challenge, the prompt for November was want to read. So just like a book you want to read. And I wanted to read these books. So really it started with this book, and then I was like, I have to continue because both of these are just so good. Yeah. So if you haven't heard of this book, this is one of the greatest Christian romance books of all time. Okay. If you have not read this and you like Christian romance, I'm telling you, this is one of the best. It's just so high quality in terms of the writing, the relationship, the dynamics, the depth, and the humor. Like all of it together is just so good. So I can't recommend it enough. So this is Love and a Little White Lie by Tammy Gray. First book in her State of Grace trilogy. So this is like kind of a companion trilogy, but it does follow a timeline, so you have to read them in order. So Love and a Little White Lie, you start with this girl who is an atheist, but she ends up getting a job at a church, and she meets people in that process, and there is a romance. So highly recommend, gave that 5 stars. And then the second book is Love and the Silver Lining by the same author. So this follows, you know, it is the next step after Love and a Little White Lie. So you definitely have to read the other one first. But for this one, you're following different characters, but things have happened to them throughout the first book. So you pick up where you left off. And in this one, you're following a girl named Darcy, and she was meant to go on a missions trip, but it ends up getting canceled. And so she now doesn't know what she's going to do with her life. And she has to like move because she was already going to be moving. And now she has nowhere to live, so she has to figure that out. And it is a romance. And I'm just telling you, it's super stinking cute. If you like kind of like a rough hero, that's what this is following, okay? And then also there's a huge dog aspect. So if you don't like dogs, you may find parts of this book not very interesting to you. But I feel like they were done pretty well, because all of the things within, like with the dogs, had like metaphors with them that like explained more about what the characters were going through, or just like life lessons that you can be learning. And then plus dogs are just really cute. And I actually quite like reading dogs in books when they're done well and when they're done realistic, which I feel like these dogs were. So yeah, highly recommend this. These like, the romances are so unique and so well done and thought out that I can't pick a favorite. Like both of these are so good. I do think ultimately the first book is my favorite, but I'm just saying both of these books, you need to read them. Now I did say this was a trilogy. We don't talk about the third book, okay? I did not reread that one. That's all I'll say, okay? Okay, then I started my read of the Love Clichés series by Emma St. Clair. This is my first ever book collection from her that I've ever read. So she is like a big, clean romance author name. I see her on Instagram. She posts really great stuff that I just like really respect her, and I really want to like support her and read her books. And I've just like heard great things. So I did have Falling for Your Best Friend's Twin as an ebook. So I was able to read that. That's the first book in the Love Clichés series. And they follow different characters, but they kind of do build on themselves. So it is meant to be read in order, is from what I understand. So each book in this series, the title gives away what the trope is, which I really like. And Best Friend's Twin, like, that means there's like a brother involved. And I have said that like, for some reason, any kind of brother trope, there's just something desirable about that for me. And I can't explain it, but it is what it is. So yeah, this book, I gave it 4 stars. I was definitely impressed. Not blown away, but I do know this is an older series by her. She's probably written way more by now, that maybe her writing has evolved and grown and all the things. So, but whatever, 4 stars is still really good. It's just, I will say, like, my expectations are pretty high for this author, just because of all of the buzz and the hype around her books in general. Anyway, so what I really liked about this first book is it opens with this group of friends. All these girls are having dinner together, I guess. And so you get to know each one a little bit and like what their situation kind of is within that first scene. So I was like, oh, I can see that the books are going to be following these girls. So each girl gets a book, which is fun. So this first girl, she is roommates with all of these other girls. And one of the girls is a twin and has a twin brother. And so the girl you're following, I don't keep track of names. I'm not a name person with books. They just leave my mind as soon as I finish the book. So I'm going to just be referring to these characters as their gender, I guess. And I hope that's okay. Because I truly, Addie, I really do forget the names of these people. So I'm not even going to try. But anyway, the main girl in this book, she is like a computer whiz, really good with like breaking down code and like doing cyber security and stuff like that. And she works at a place that she feels kind of dead at, but like it pays the bills. And anyway, so the twin brother is needing to hire someone to like figure out this glitch in their app. And so she gets hired by him. And so she has to like be in his office all the time looking at all of his computer stuff. And that's how something happens there. And it was fun. I liked seeing their relationship grow. Definitely super clean. There's no language. And there's a bit of like reference to how hot they are and like how irresistible they are. But it felt very tame, in my opinion, from what you can be reading these days. It felt tame. It felt safe to be reading. And it never crossed one of my lines. I think they kissed like twice. I think there may have been 2 kiss scenes, but like pretty mild, and you could just tell it wasn't going anywhere. And then the nice thing is, like, I've read author's notes from this author now, and she promises it will never go anywhere. So that's really nice. Like, it feels like a safe story to be reading. So anyways, gave it 4 stars. Definitely wanted to dive into the next one because it follows the twin sister that you met in the first book. And I own that book, which is Falling for Your Boss. And this one is an age gap romance. And I don't think I've ever read a truly age gap romance that like is all about that, because she is, what is she, 23? And he is 42. Yeah. I couldn't get over that. I really couldn't, because when I was reading this, like, seeing him in particular, I cringed so hard, because I'm like, why? But it's just, it wasn't for me. Okay. I don't want to like, okay. A lot of reviews say this is great. But I DNF'd it. I DNF'd this book because I just like cringed so hard thinking about this age gap and just the behavior of the characters. I just couldn't get on board, because also like she works under him, and it just felt like a sticky power dynamic that just made me feel icky, and I couldn't do it. So I did not finish this book, but it's beautiful. I love the spine. But I DNF'd this book. So I was like, oh no, like, but it's the trope, okay? It was the trope. I'm trying to justify myself. I'm just saying it wasn't for me. Yeah, okay. But then I moved on to Falling for Your Fake Fiancé, and this one follows another friend. And actually it follows the best friend, the guy is best friends with this boss from this book. So, but I remember him vaguely, but apparently the 2 characters in Falling for Your Fake Fiancé have a scene in this book that I just never read. because I DNF'd it before that. So there was a little slight thing that I feel like I was missing because they had already met by the time I started this Fake Fiancé book. So whatever. It didn't hurt my enjoyment though. So this one is definitely like resistant enemies to lovers, but not true enemies, but definitely like mega resistance there from the girl's side. And the Fake Fiancé part. So it opens with this guy is reading his dad's will, and for him to inherit the family firm, he has to get married or he gives up the firm. And he's mad about that because he never wanted to get married. That was never what he wanted to do. And so he is like, I'm gonna find a loophole, whatever. But his mom is like, oh, I want you to get married. Like, maybe you can just figure this out. Like, come on. And he's like, no, mom, whatever. And then he happens to keep his dog at this doggy daycare place that one of these girls works at. And her name is Delilah, because this one's more fresh in my mind. Delilah and Thaden are the characters. So Thaden sends his dog to doggy daycare. Delilah is there and she's getting let go. And that's so sad. And so she's like working with this dog on her last day. And then Thaden comes up and witnesses her being fired / let go. And he's like, I'll hire you. And she's like, I need the money, so okay. So she goes to his house and she's with his dog, but she goes there early in the morning. So he like made her breakfast and whatever. And then the mom comes and the mom thinks that he found himself a wife. And she's like all excited. And so the girl's confused and the guy's like, no, it's not what you think. So it's all that situation. Okay. And I will say like the contract thing, the Fake Fiancé thing was like pretty silly. And I had to just be like, you know what, it's fine. I'm gonna overlook this because this is ridiculous, but I'm okay because it's a fun book to be reading. So anyways, I gave this 4 stars because once again, like I liked the writing, I liked the characters, but kind of just the plot and just like different things. I was like, okay, you know, I could like this better if other things were not here. But I mean, it is, I think in a contemporary setting, it's definitely hard to do the Fake Fiancé thing under certain circumstances. So I do understand. And she did it well with what she had. So there's that. I definitely am going to continue in the series. The next book that I need to read is a little Christmas novella. And then the next book is Falling for Your Best Friend, which this one I'm very excited to read because I love the best friend trope so much. So I can't wait. And this follows, what's the girl's name? I forget. Harper. It follows Harper and she has a best friend, a boy best friend. And yeah. So I'm anticipating this one, but I have to read the Christmas novella first. So there you go. So there is my, you know, entrance into Emma St. Clair, and I definitely like what I see. I will for sure, like once I get Kindle Unlimited, which I may already have it by the time you see this video, I am going to be reading some of her books for sure because she has a lot, and I'm assuming that the sooner ones, the ones that she's more recently written, are going to have like really good writing. So I'm excited for that. Okay, next, I do have a video sharing about these books, but The Rose and the Thistle, I did DNF this book because it was just so Scottish, so historical, not enough romance, not enough character interaction for me to be interested. So I did DNF it, but I have a whole vlog explaining that process and like all the things. So I will just leave it at that. You may like this book, but it wasn't for me. In that same video, which I didn't even put this book on Goodreads, so I'm not even gonna count it, but Waves of Mercy by Lynn Austen, I did read 3 chapters of that. Actually 2, because I stopped at chapter 3. So I read 2 chapters of it, and I mean, my new thing is I'm breaking up with historical fiction. So that's my new thing. I don't want to read another historical fiction book for like a whole month at least. Longer, honestly. You know, okay? Like, because the amount of times that I've been like so let down, I need a break. So anyways, I DNF'd this. I didn't even put it on Goodreads. I'm not counting it, whatever. But then the other book in that vlog is Daughter of Eden by Jill Eileen Smith. And this book was interesting. So this is biblical fiction. I would still consider it historical fiction, of course, but like definitely more biblical fiction because this follows Adam and Eve and all of their kids and basically just the first part of Genesis, and it was interesting. It definitely caught my attention. I was curious how she was going to play this out, but ultimately, like, I gave it 3 stars, more like a 2.5, because we followed mainly just Adam and Eve having kids and then following their kids and like following all the things. And there's definitely like core Bible stories that you see play out, but it was just strange. I just like started to feel like, what was the point? And that feels really rude to say, but just for me, like, I think I said this in the video, but like, for this story, for what it was about, like, just read the Bible. That's what I think. Like, I personally, I wouldn't say like it added anything to this story that like would make it a must read, you know? I don't know. And I feel like the beginning was the best, and then as it kept going, I just like was like, I don't care about this. I don't care about this anymore. Like, yeah, it is what it is. But I'm glad I got that read. So that's my opinion on it. I don't think there was anything wrong with it, but like I said, it didn't wow me. It didn't make me feel like it really added to this Bible story. Okay, I think I'm on to the Christmas books now. So here we go. First Christmas book I read was A Quilt for Christmas by Melody Carlson. And to be honest, like, man, this month, I'm telling you, it's been rough, but like, I didn't love this. This is a 3-star for me. Like, because it just, so you follow this old woman who lives in an apartment, and this little girl knocks on her door needing help with her mom. Her mom is sick. Her mom has to go to the hospital. And so this old lady like takes care of this little girl and her siblings. And it's kind of that story. The old lady can make blankets, like make quilts. So that's her thing. And the little girl sees it and is like, oh, I want to make one for my mom in the hospital. And so the story is this lady having this girl help her make this blanket, and also getting a bunch of people like from the community to help make this blanket too. And it's kind of like all about making this blanket with these people. And I didn't care. I feel like such a Scrooge talking about this, but like, I just didn't, but okay, I will say, like, in particular, this author's books like don't connect with me. I don't find them really standouts, but I happen to own this book, so that's why I read it. But I'm not like the biggest fan of this author's books. I think there's better books out there, just saying. So yeah, I feel really bad saying this, but truly take all of my reviews with a grain of salt. I'm just like having really like expectations that are not being met by the books that I'm reading. Maybe I need to take a break. I don't know, but it is what it is. Okay, then I read 2 books from the Stuff Your Kindle event that I got that are Christmas themed, and I don't remember the authors because they were ebooks and I don't pay attention to that. But the first one is called Snow Adventure. This one was fun. I gave this 4 stars. I would recommend this one. It was clean. It was like interesting and all of the things. So I will tell you. So basically this girl, she is broke. She's got no money, and her dad is an alcoholic and is like draining her funds, and they live together, and she's like trying to take care of him, but like he is an alcoholic. So she runs a plow, a plow truck, and she's hired by this like fancy hotel, but the manager of the hotel is really rude to her and like is a terrible boss. So she is always like struggling to please him. And there's one morning where her truck is like having issues, and then she sees a cat that is like injured in the snow. So she stops the truck, helps the cat. The manager sees her, is like, what are you doing? And then as he's getting mad at her, this random guy comes out of the forest and like helps her. And then you find out that this guy was actually sent by the owners of the hotel to like look over things, see how the manager's doing, see if any changes need to happen. And so he helps this girl, and then he tells his friends like, hey, yeah, this manager sucks. And they're like, okay, you gotta like catch him in something. So like his goal is to like be around this manager and like catch him doing stuff. But then I would say the main part of this book is actually them getting lost in the forest during a snowstorm. And that part was the most fun to read for me. And that was like the whole middle chunk of the book. So yeah, but the whole point of the story is to like basically get this manager out. So there's two things going on there. But yeah, basically she like goes off into the forest because she's upset. He follows her. They get lost. They get snowed in and they have to survive. And I love like snow survival stories. So that part was really fun. And I liked it. I liked the ending. I liked how it wrapped up. Their romance was sweet. It was totally clean, no language. And I would recommend it. So that is the gist. Hopefully that interests you. Okay, then I read The Christmas Pact by Meg Easton. I do remember this one because I don't know why I didn't put the Stowe Adventure in my recommendation video. Maybe I hadn't read it yet. I don't know. Anyways, The Christmas Pact though, this one I had recommended. So this is a fake dating story, which was really fun to read. I love fake dating tropes. So both of them are getting bugged by their families to be in a relationship, but neither of them want to be in a relationship. So they end up like telling each other that and then saying, hey, we should fake date each other. And they're like, okay. And I think the main thing that stood out is they actually fake dated. They went on dates. They had family gatherings that they both had to go to on either side. And it was so cute. And then the progression of their relationship was so natural. It felt like, oh, they actually are just getting to know each other and they're seeing each other in their families and like just really coming to like each other as people. And then the romance started and I really liked that. So, and this was completely clean, no language, so very nice. So those were really great. Both of those were 4 stars. Okay, then I read Apple Cider Slang by Julianne Lindsey. And I buddy read this with Keisha, which was really nice. She definitely knows more about how cozy mysteries work than I do. This was my first ever cozy mystery. And she assured me there are good ones out there because you follow this girl and her granny. They have a apple farm, I think. It's vague, okay? I listened to the audiobook and it went by really fast. So great audiobook. I'd recommend it if, I don't know. But basically, a lady turns up dead in one of their barns, and this lady was like kind of like foes with the granny, so the granny is suspected of the murder. So then this like sheriff comes in, I forget, whatever, detective, I don't know. This law enforcement dude comes, and right away they start butting heads. Like I think her name's Winnie, I forget. She is like, oh, you know, defend my granny, she didn't do it. And he's like, well, it looks like she did. And so they like butt heads all the time. And I found their interactions the most cringy. And there were just certain things that like they said to each other that I'm like, ugh, I just could not. Oh no, please no. And then I definitely will say like the wrap up of like who did it and everything was definitely surprising. I did not guess who the killer was. And I just didn't really see the romance. I think that was the main thing. It really cringed me out. And I just ultimately was like, ugh. So I read it though. That is like a very popular cozy mystery. So take my review with a grain of salt. You know me, I'm not really a mystery person. There has to be good romance. And for this one, the romance just did not do it for me. So that's my opinion. Okay, then I read The Duke's Winter Promise by Isabella Thorne. This was very cute. This is like childhood friends to lovers, and once again, love that trope. So yeah, basically this girl needs to get married and she's trying to figure out like who to marry because her parents are like putting the pressure on. Then the guy, he becomes a duke because his dad passes away, but no one really liked his dad. He had like a bad reputation. So now this guy's like inheriting the bad duke name. So he feels like he's not worthy of her, but they get along so well. They're good friends. They chat like, and she starts like catching feelings. He's already caught the feelings. And it's kind of just the process of them figuring out that they like each other. And I will say like, there was a bit of assumptions made, but I do think that the way they communicated was enough to make it readable. The miscommunication definitely does get annoying in general, but for this, I felt like it was done well enough because also her brother was very involved and he was like, just talk to her, like, don't let this go. You have to, you know, whatever. And then there was one point where I'm like, what if they don't end up together? Like, it really looked like they weren't going to end up together or like something. I don't even know how they were going to make that work, but they did. They made it work. And so that's how it all went. And yeah, I really liked it. I was impressed. I gave it 4 stars. So this was clean, no language, and it is Regency. So, you know, this is historical, but it wasn't really the setting or the time period that made the huge difference. It was the romance and the characters, which is what I need in my historical stories. So this one really worked out and I would recommend it. Okay, and lastly, I did read the book club pick for the Revive book club that Keisha runs. It's called Every Woman a Theologian. I got the audiobook and it was very well done. It was read by the author. And wow, this book, like, this is the very basics, but still deep, like deep basics of Christianity. Like all of the different ology words that you could study, like eschatology and all of those words, she goes into, and she explains like just different aspects to the Christian faith, what they all mean, different terms. Like it was really well done. Like the fact that this book even exists, I think it's so useful. Like you could definitely take a class on this stuff. And I was impressed. So I gave it 4 stars. I would definitely recommend it. I think you might want the physical copy because there were times when like she would say something, I'm like, oh wow, that was really good. But then, you know, you're listening, so it's already moved on to the next thing. And it's like, wow, I feel like I need to like sit with this a little bit. So definitely like a lot of good reflecting times in there. Yeah, so I think that was a great first pick for a book club. And there were live shows. I missed all of them, but there were live shows for this book too. If you want to see more, I'll link stuff down below. But I liked it, so I'm glad that I read it. That's it. I know this was very long. I'm really sorry about that. I'm going to quickly share my December TBR, or I'm going to quickly share my December TBR because I don't want to make a separate video. So, what I got here. Okay, here we go. So first of all, I am still currently reading This Present Darkness, and I don't think I'll finish it because I am buddy reading it. So, we're taking our time and it's not a rush, but this will definitely be finished in December. And then I'm definitely going to read Piercing the Darkness. I just have been loving being back in this world and being back with his writing. So I'm going to definitely read this in December too. And then, like I said, I am reading the Emma St. Clair books. So this is the novella that I'm on, the 12 Holidates. Haven't started it yet, but I will. And I don't know. Yeah, it'll be a really quick read. And then these are the last 2 books. So Falling for Your Best Friend is the next one, and then Falling for Your Enemy is the last one. And yeah, I am excited to finish this series out and then read more. We shall see. And then I did also get this book for my birthday from Lindsey, so thank you so much. This is The First Taste by Anna Conwell. This author I know is very popular with clean options as well, and I see her on Instagram and stuff, so I own this book now. So isn't this cute? I don't know, it's probably not Christmas themed, but this is like friends to lovers, so one of my favorite tropes. So I definitely hope that I like this, and this will be my first book by this author too. So those are the non-Christmas books, I guess, other than the novella that I hope to read. But really, I think I'm going to read mostly Christmas books, and we'll see like what other audiobooks I get up to, but I haven't really made those decisions yet. So we'll see in my December wrap up what I actually get to. But yeah, I flew through that because I know this is a long video. And thank you for watching, you guys. I'll write every book down below that I mentioned, and I'm curious about your thoughts. I know it was quite a mixed bag of reviews, and I'm not saying that I'm right here. This is just my opinion, just how I experienced these books. But hopefully you got some insight and found some books that might work for you. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.